guys, welcome back to the Parker Kasper Show. Today we're going to talk about property taxes, um, certain salaries, resources, the truth about monopolies, and politically correct oxymorons. Okay? So, and a couple other more things, but those will be the main points that we are going to hit on. We'll start out with property taxes. This is this is one of my biggest pet peeves. Like income tax, obviously you can understand. I think there's too much income tax. They shouldn't be taking 50% or more of your earnings. But income tax you can understand because, the government does need some money to build roads and build the military and stuff. They take way too much, but income tax does need does need to exist. I think that's why it is in the Constitution. But property tax is ridiculous because if you own a house, own, you shouldn't have to pay any more money for the house you own. Like technically, you don't even own it. If you have to pay money monthly for something that you technically, the government says, yeah, you own it, but you have to pay us every month. You're like, what? How do I own it then? And maybe people will just say, well, then you just don't own it. But that's the problem. You should be able to own it. You do own it. You paid the money for it. This is why we're a republic, not a communist state. This is one of the signs of a communist state is that the government owns everything, which technically they kind of do, even in America, in Canada. Because guess what happens if you default on a property tax? You lose the property. So, I mean, obviously it's ridiculous, but I think we don't talk about this enough. You'll never see conservatives going, oh, we need to get rid of property tax. The only ones you'll see is like commentators like Matt Walsh. He talks about it, but like we really should be. I don't really like protests. I don't like petitions, but this is something we should be protesting. We should be petitioning. Property tax like is actually ridiculous. Like one of the ways to get back to a stronger state is if you actually can own stuff. You need to be capable of owning stuff. If you can't even own the house that you build your life in, well then that's bad and we need to change that. Okay, moving on from my little rant about property taxes, okay? We'll talk about there's more complaints from teachers recently about why they make so little money. And what people always say is, why? Why do we pay teachers so little and we pay athletes so much? What is this message we're sending to our kids? Well, really, okay? I mean, there's a lot of different arguments against this. Like one is that a teacher is a government job, so yeah, we don't want you just taking all our tax money to pay teachers. But another is it's a capitalist state. You get and pay what you earn. Okay? So yes, obviously, maybe a teacher is more useful than an athlete in a way, okay, arguably. But the thing is, there are millions of people who could be just as good of teachers as the teachers we are. It's not like we're searching for teachers desperately. I could be a teacher. You could probably be a teacher, okay? That's why they don't make very much money. It's supply and demand. Athletes, on the other hand, how many top athletes are there? Not very many. That's why they make so much money, okay? If people are willing to pay the money to watch them because they're so good, then they should be able to get the money because it's just they earned it. It's supply and demand. Now, if there was only one teacher, one good teacher in the world, they'd probably make a lot of money, and that would be fair. If there was only one doctor who could perform brain surgery, he would make a lot of money, and that would be fair, okay? There are a lot of people capable of teaching a kindergarten class, elementary class, middle school class, even high school. There aren't many people capable of throwing strikes at 90 miles per hour, or even throwing 90 miles per hour at all, or throwing strikes. So that's why they make so much money. And also, going back to the argument where it's like we pay teachers 50,000, we pay athletes 1 million. What argument? What message are we sending to our kids? Well, the problem with that is, what if I said this? A Bible costs $5? I can buy a Bible for $5, but a Nintendo PlayStation costs me 1,000? What message are we sending to our kids? Obviously, you see, you can't base prices on the moral worth of a thing. It's on their actual material worth. You can see from that it's ridiculous. Okay, moving on from that again. Another little rant there. When people, this is another thing that gets me mad. People talk about conserving resources. We have to conserve our resources. Well, what I always want to ask is, who are we conserving our resources for? And if they say the next generation, well, I'd say, why them? Why do we not get to use them and they do? And then they'll probably say, oh no, they have to conserve the resources too. Well, then who's actually going to use the resources? If we keep conserving them, just forever, we just conserve everything, well then we'll never get anything done, we'll never get anything built. I don't think we are in danger of running out of resources, I think that's a myth too, but even if we were, we might as well use them than not use them. Like, if you're on an island, you're starving to death, there's a group of people, and you have some food. You wouldn't say, let's save this, we're running out of food, we're gonna save it all. You might starve to death, but too bad. Or you'd say, well, yeah, seeing I think we need the food right now, we might as well eat it. That's what I think. And then I wanted to talk about this, monopolies. When people talk about capitalism, a lot of conservatives say, yeah, I like capitalism. Capitalism is great, but we can't have monopolies. That's not fair. So basically, a monopoly is like, say like something like Microsoft. Their computer program is used by every computer manufacturer, and that's why they make so much money. And people say, well, that's not fair. They're not allowed to own all the. Everyone can't use a Microsoft computer system. Then there's no room for competition. And like something like, you know, gee, I'm struggling for an example. Like Google. Everyone uses the Google browser. People say, well, that's not fair. It's a monopoly. They're so big, no one else is ever going to use anything else. But the truth is, you know why they're so big? Because they deliver the best product. If there was another product out there that was good, people would use it. It's not just like they have this monopoly and then like there's no other good products. Yes, I know little businesses are going to get pushed out, but I mean, if they don't have a better product, that's too bad for them. It just is. Go work on something that actually is a better product, and people will buy it. I will come and buy it. I want a better product, okay? But monopolies are so good because they're so big because they made the best product. That's just how it works. That's what a monopoly is. He has a monopoly because he has the best product. Okay, and at the end of the show, for our final point, I just wanted to talk about politically correct oxymorons, and which politically correct is one itself. You'll notice this a lot. They'll say, oh, but that's not politically correct, which everyone knows means it's not actually correct at all. Politically correct means that it's false, and this is why I don't get when people say, when left wings say, like, a transgender man. What do you mean, transgender man? You're saying yourself that it's not actually a man. If you actually think that a transgender man is a man, shouldn't you just say, look at that man, not look at that transgender man? When you say transgender, you're saying you don't actually think it is a man. So if left-wings want to stand by their ridiculous arguments about gender, then they should just be saying, look at that man, not look at that transgender man. Like, I don't want to be giving them tips here, but that's clearly messing them up. I mean, like, if I was gonna say, like, I had an orange and I was telling everyone it was a banana, I wouldn't be saying, look at this, orange banana. I'd be saying, look at this banana. And it's the same thing with gender. that'll do it for the show today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Godspeed.